Hey, wait, I started the countdown, but I forgot to go live. Let's do that again. Hey, and we are live. Welcome to Conversations with Asha and Steve, live stream 2023. How's it going,
Wow.
Dr. Asha?
Good. Happy New Year, Steve.
Happy New Year. I am
How's the year going so
so
far?
far I'm almost over all the crap that I had over the
Good.
holiday, so I would say pretty good. How about you? I mean, you
Did
were off gallivanting all over Europe.
Not all over Europe, but just, it was time to unwind from 2022 because 2022 was, intense in some
Were
parts of it.
were you successful in unwinding? That's what I want to
Yes.
know.
Yes, very much
Where
so.
where exactly did you go?
I'm not telling you exactly where I went, but I was in South Europe. Let me put it that way. I'm not telling you exactly where I went to. You crazy?
Let's see. You're already back. Why would it matter whether you told me where?
It
Like,
matters. It
is
matters.
there
There's
some?
a
Were
story.
there some laws broken while you were gone?
No, not under my name. No.
Wait, are you using my name again for travel?
Yeah. It's Stefania. Yeah.
That's good. I told you, you get the extra 5% off Motel 6 anywhere you go
Oh,
nationwide. Well,
geez.
worldwide apparently.
Apparently.
But you had a good time. I know you were traveling with your dad, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it
Well,
was
that's
good.
good.
It
I
was
saw
good.
your posts. In fact, one of the things that we don't do a very good job of is promoting our stuff when we're,
Yeah.
doing these things, right? People
It's
need to
true.
follow you on Instagram because you've got some really good inspirational posts.
Thank
So,
you.
how do people follow you?
So you can find me at the Prasad Method or at Dr. Asha. And yeah, you can follow me there. That's and
Yeah.
Steve put, because I think you've got a couple of different handles on there. I see content from you all the time. Really, really great quotes, really great information. Also about your Ripple Club membership too. So
Yeah.
where can people follow you?
It's at Rippleon on almost every platform,
Okay,
RIPPLEON. So you can follow me there. And then
great.
we just started, and I did not see you sign up. And so I'm putting public pressure on you right now
What
to
did you
sign up
do?
for our Wave of Generosity 31-day challenge.
Where was I supposed to sign up for it?
Well, if you're on
I
my
missed it.
newsletter, you would get the notification, but I think you put me in spam. I'm not
I
sure.
missed it. Oh my gosh, can I still sign up for it?
Yeah, you can still sign up. It's 31 days from whenever
Okay.
you sign up. But yeah,
Can you
it's
yeah.
yeah. In fact, I need to
Put the link.
figure out.
Put the link
Yeah,
in the chat.
let me see if I can actually do this. I just upgraded my laptop, as I was telling you, to this really badass new Mac,
Mhm.
and now I got to figure out how to to get the link over here to
Was
this
that your
new
Christmas
one.
gift to yourself?
No, I actually needed to I needed to bump up my expenses for the end of the year, and
That's a great way to do it.
I
You're
mean, I'm
like,
just being honest, right? So at
yeah,
the end of the day, yeah, it would be nice to have thought that that was a gift.
yeah.
But yeah, no.
It kinda indirectly
Any,
gift. It is,
yeah, exactly.
right?
Anymore, I got to say, it is. Technology used to be fun to acquire,
Mhm.
and it is no longer fun to acquire.
No.
It's just like a drag.
Yes. I
It.
agree.
I mean, even setting. I've had this thing in a box since mid-December, and every time the boys would come into my home office, they're like,
Mhm.
"Oh my God, like you had it customized and
Yeah.
like this is going to be like the coolest Mac you've ever had, like, a MacBook Pro, and you have not even taken it out of the box." I'm like, "No." It's like every time I look at it, I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm gonna have to like create accounts and like connect my iTunes and do
Yeah.
all this crap." And
See, I'm the
so
same
then
way.
first act of, it's, a service today was this stream. So this is the
Cool.
inaugural, I should bash it with a bottle of champagne or something,
I
maybe.
know,
I don't
right?
know.
Yeah, no, that's cool.
All right, I'm going
Excellent.
to add this banner. Let's see if I can show it. Boom. There it is.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's where you sign up, and it's
Great.
free. It's 31 days of, wave of generosity. We've got this whole theme going at
Hmm.
Ripple headquarters, and we're focused on, trying to get our years kicked off to the best possible start. And the best way to do that is to be generous with your time, your skills, your abilities, your technical support. Like I often am generous with you.
That's an understatement.
That's
But
it.
anyway, that's an understatement.
And you've got some new stuff going on too. You should drop, those links in as well. Can you do
Yeah,
that from your side or no?
I can't. I can't
Oh,
actually. Let me see. No, that's
I
okay.
think you.
But you know what? Drop this link. You can drop this link in the comments, right, Steve? So I'll
Yep,
drop some links in there too, and maybe we'll
perfect.
put our handles in there too, so people can follow us individually too. That would be
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
That would be
absolutely.
great.
Well, I mean, you're a co-host. I thought you would be able to do it, but maybe not. I
No.
don't know. We're on StreamYard today. Normally we're on Ecamm when we're recording, so it's a little
Yeah,
bit different.
a little
So
bit different.
we wanted to do this live stream to kick off the year. I got some really positive comments about our live stream prior to Christmas. People were like, "Were you guys really drinking?" Or
I know. I had people messaging me saying, "So you are Santa?" I'm like, "What?" I was
I'm
like,
telling
"Oh,
you,
God."
I mean, you knew exactly where he lived. You had so many details. I mean, it's just a little too convenient. You're either that or you're going to be like a lifetime, movie. Like the
You know what?
stalking of Santa.
But you know what they say, Steve? I sent you years ago that link about people born in the month of November.
Oh yeah,
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 so yeah,
nuts.
nuts, pretty much nuts. So I'm,
Well,
I kind of fall into that. But anyway,
I mean, you do kind of. I mean, did you get any good Christmas presents? That's what I want to know.
no, we did not do presents this year. That was
At all?
definitely nope at all. That's been for a couple
Because you
years
gave
now,
all the
actually.
presents away. See, again, reaffirming the.
No, Santa just forgot about me. That's what happened. No, I'm not
Uh,
really into presents for Christmas time either. That's
really?
been several years. Yeah, no, exactly. I would rather give something. Well, if you like to give something, whether it's to donate something or to donate, like, because I don't know. It's been really interesting. I don't really look at it as, I don't know. I have this relationship with acquiring things that has changed over the years.
Uh-huh.
It's strange. I don't know. I don't know if that happens to everybody, but for some reason, I don't know. I'd rather give my time or give something, donate it, something that somebody could use, or rather than receiving stuff that I probably will give away
Well,
or throw away after a couple of years. I don't know.
dang,
I
you're
know.
just harsh.
No, it's
So
not
are you like,
hard.
are you trying to be more of a minimalist, would you say? Or
I have evolved into that a bit more. Yes, that's for sure. That's one
so,
thing that changed for me though whenever when I moved to Europe. Because
yeah,
because the mentality is quite different, and I'm not saying that everybody's like that, but for me, that's something I realized taking a distant, viewpoint from the way, we tend to live in the States, which there's nothing wrong with it. I love it there too. But I think that sometimes things go overboard. It's just, too much. And then, you kind of find yourself, and of course here, because houses are smaller, your space is a lot smaller and stuff, you have to ask yourself, do I really need this? Do I really
yeah.
want this? Do I really need it? And when you start doing that, yeah, I mean, it changes your viewpoint. You start to, I
I
don't know,
mean,
interesting.
it is interesting because, it's one of the things that I've kind of thought about is try to figure out how I could become more of a minimalist.
Hmm.
And I just keep acquiring crap, like
Yeah,
tons of crap.
yeah,
And like you said, it's like some stuff that you're like, well, will I ever use it? Do I need it?
yeah,
Like, I'm trying to be a little bit more discerning in terms of how or
yeah.
what how I approach stuff, but
Right.
I still enjoy stuff,
I mean, I do enjoy stuff, absolutely, Steve. Like, I enjoy stuff, but I don't have the need to really have to own it or have to
Yep.
have it myself. Like, even, like, it would be kind of cool to have a place that you could rent out, like, time to spend with, like, all the cool new gadgets and all the cool new stuff, and see how long you kind of play around with that stuff. You, like, rent it for a couple of hours to spend time with it, and then leave and go home, and you probably will have that satisfaction. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Like, yeah, are you talking like timeshare other people's stuff?
Kind of like, actually have a place that you can, go and I don't know, play with the newest gadgets or whatever it is, and or drive, in the newest car, the sports car that you really like, or whatever you drive, Steve. I don't remember what sports car you drive, but
I don't have a sports
I'm
car.
just kidding.
I have a
I'm
truck
just
for
kidding.
truckers.
You're a trucker. New Mexican trucker. No, but
Hey,
just
I don't know what you're saying there, but it doesn't sound good, whatever it
it was not meant bad. No, no, no. No, but
is.
it's wouldn't that be something though? I really wonder if they did an experiment with that, what that would be, what that would say
It's like
about.
Airbnb for stuff. I think you may have just come up with your
There you go.
next startup idea.
There you
That
go.
could be $1 billion valuation right there.
So
You don't have to own it. You just get to come and like timeshare it.
exactly.
I like that.
I
Well,
think
I'm going to share a link on our
okay.
screen for a guy that you may enjoy following if you're
Sure.
so inclined in the minimalist area.
I
Matt Diavella. Do you know
mhm,
him by chance?
I've heard of him. Yeah, I have heard
I
of him.
really, Josh, my youngest son, like
Mhm,
said, "Oh, Dad, I think you'd really dig this guy." And so I started
mhm,
following him, maybe beginning of last year, I think, and I
mhm.
really dig his stuff. But he's all about minimalist. He's
Yeah.
like, they just recently made a home purchase in Australia. They
Mhm,
travel, from I think California, and back to Australia where his wife's from originally, but
mhm.
he's all about trying to be a minimalist
Like
and how
really
much it's
minimal.
reduced
Yeah.
his stress and
Yeah.
how it's really affected his life. And so he's got an entire channel off of it. And so I think you would enjoy following him
Yeah,
for
I'll
sure.
definitely check that out. I mean, I think there is something to say, Steve, about having less stuff around you and stuff. It does calm you. It really calms you down.
This
So,
is this is probably why I'm so hyper all the time because I have so much crap. Like if you look behind this
mhm.
laptop, there's so much crap. It's like, but I love it. I mean, it's like,
No, but if you love it and you feel comfortable, what's interesting? I did notice one thing. Whenever I go to my sister's house, I can't sleep very well because of all the electronics that are in the house. I can't stand it. I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, oh my God. And as soon as I get back here, I'm like, oh, thank God. And I can sleep like a baby. But it's so interesting. I noticed that not only at her house, but other people's houses that I've been to that are just full on with electronics everywhere. I cannot take it anymore. That's really interesting, isn't it?
it is interesting. And
Yeah.
to be fair, when I was having problems with this insomnia, you told
Mhm.
me get rid of your cell phone from the side
Yeah.
table, and I did that for a couple of nights.
Right.
I still,
Yeah.
I put it back. It didn't matter. But it did make a huge difference. It was like
Yeah.
yeah, I slept sounder.
Yeah.
Um, he actually talks about that. Matt does about the fact that you can put it somewhere else, like
Yeah.
set the alarm,
Exactly.
do whatever. But he doesn't actually use an alarm. He said actually after he moved,
Mhm.
I'm kind of paraphrasing, but he said after he moved all his electronics away, his
Mhm.
body just got into
Yep.
that natural
I don't
rhythm, the
use an alarm
circadian rhythm.
either.
Really?
Yep. I haven't for years. For years, I haven't. I don't use an
Uh,
alarm.
I probably don't need to now. I get up like
Right.
earlier than my alarm does, sort of
Right.
dictate, but I always have that fear of like missing. If I'm not up by
Right.
4:40, I'm not going to be the first person in the gym and I
Right.
got to be first. So
You got to open up the doors. Yeah.
I got to, they hate me there. They're like, because they got new people that are working and they're like late. I'm like, how hard is it to just be on time? I mean, give me the code. I'm here. I can open the damn
I
place
can
for you
open it for
guys.
you. Yeah.
Jeez. The new person's like, I just never expected people to be here when we open. I'm like, I know that's posted hours. It's so bizarre.
I
People would
know.
be
Isn't
here
that
when you
weird?
say you opened. I don't understand. I mean, what's
Oh
wrong with
my
us?
God.
So anyway, but I'm getting better about not having to do the alarm, and I think actually this year I'm going
Yeah.
to try a little experiment where I'm actually not going to put my cell phone anywhere near me and
Good.
see. So just to give it a whirl.
Yeah. Give it a try.
Yeah. Well, so part of why we wanted to do this live
Mhm.
stream was we wanted to talk about the new year, right? We wanted to talk
Exactly.
about, everybody is talking about, well, did you make your resolutions? Do you have
Mm.
goals, objectives set for yourself? And I'm curious. I mean, do you do that? I know you do it as an ongoing, continual
Yeah.
basis. Maybe kind of let our audience know a little bit about your methodology and process. But do you think this whole setting the resolutions at the beginning of the year is a bunch of bunk?
I kind of do, Steve, because I think that every single day you can set, you can start new any day. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
January 1st. It doesn't have to be, it just doesn't have to be. So I think you can do it at any time. And I think that if you make it a habit to regularly check in throughout the year, you'll see that your goals change and and it depends on how you want to make goals and resolutions. I mean, my biggest question is, why do I want to achieve something before it gets written down, before it gets documented of me wanting to achieve whatever it is? It's like, why do I want to do it? What is my reason? And that question, that just simple question of asking why,
Yeah.
helps you get very clear on what you really, really do want. And you won't have to wait till January 1st. Or if it's February 1st, it's like, okay, I'm starting today. You know what I mean? Like, and whenever you make it a habit to check in regularly, I think that you can, I don't want to say make resolutions every day,
Mm-hmm.
but you can evolve kind of as you go. Does that make sense? I mean,
It does.
you've got to have specific measurables too. You've got to be able to measure your progress. I mean, once you know your why and you know what you're wanting to achieve, and then you've got to put the action plan in step. And I think that that's where a lot of people kind of keep it too general. Like they just keep it really general. I mean, it's like I'll just give you an example. I had a conversation with a patient today, and they were saying that they wanted to lose weight. And I said, well, why do you want to lose weight? And he looked at me like, what? Why? I said, yeah, why? Like, why?
What's
He's
the
like,
motivation? Yeah.
I guess to be healthy. I said, okay, you guess to be healthy, or is it, you want to look a certain way? He said, no, actually, it's because I want to be healthy. I'm like, oh,
He
great.
must be a new patient. He doesn't obviously know that you just don't like
No,
not answer, like have a good answer for Dr. Asha, or she's just gonna
I'm going to keep on
yeah,
asking why.
yeah.
But it was interesting because, he said, oh my God, he said, yeah, I want to be healthy. I said, well, how do you think you're going to feel? Like, what does healthy mean to you? And we got into this really great conversation. And he left there with so much motivation and kind of this action plan that he had already, like he was talking out to me. And I know that his potential to succeed at it is much higher now than just saying,
Yeah.
I want to lose weight and then nothing else. Right. So,
No, that's good. I mean,
I mean,
I
what's
think
your
you've got
take
to
on it?
you got to have that motivation. Tim actually just asked
Yeah.
us, why don't you guys agree with resolutions at the beginning of the year? And I think you kind of answered that. I was kind of late
Yeah.
to post it, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, you don't have to do it at the beginning of
Yeah.
the year. You can do it at any time. It's what you said,
Yeah.
for yourself. Those can be small, they can be big. It's a matter of, the timing for you. I don't think, necessarily you're saying, hey, the beginning of the year is not the best time to do it. I think
No, not at
people
all. I mean,
naturally do it because
yeah.
it's kind of like everything is brand new. It's a reset, it's
Yeah.
fresh. But if you look at every single day, that could be the same way, right?
Yeah.
Just because you're starting on March 17th doesn't mean that can't be
Exactly. No,
when you set
exactly.
that resolution.
No, absolutely, Steve. I want to say, Tim, I am not saying that don't do it at the beginning of the year. Absolutely
Yeah.
do it. If your motivation lies there, do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. But make sure that your motivation is there you know, and some sort of accountability for yourself. So that way you can look back after 12 months and go, yeah, I achieved that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's another one that's just got posted. Wait, I hate resolutions. I never keep them.
Then don't make them, Sally.
Well,
More
I mean,
easier for you.
back to your question of why though, right? Like, why don't you keep them,
Yeah.
right? Was it not a strong enough motivator? Was it
Yeah.
not something that, you felt compelled that you wanted to achieve or overcome or do,
Right.
it's like, kind of like your patient, right? If you don't
Mhm.
have a real true understanding of why I want to lose weight, because you're trying to, feel better,
Right.
look better, you're trying to, get yourself inspired and motivated to
Mhm.
to take better control of your health.
Yeah.
If you don't have those things as kind of a precursor for why you're doing it, otherwise, well, because they always show the Weight Watcher commercials, at the beginning of the
Right.
year, or everybody joins a gym at the beginning of the year, I guess that's what I need to do. It's like, well, that's not a strong enough motivator. So maybe, Sally, at the end of the day, it's like, hey, maybe the resolutions that you're not big fan of is because you don't have a big enough why and not a big
Yeah.
enough motivator to actually keep them.
No, that's a good point. That's a really, really good point. And I think that, it's resolutions, goals, those kinds of things, whatever it is, you have to have it has to bring some sort of meaning. It has to be meaningful to you. Otherwise,
I
and that's with
agree.
anything, like literally anything. If it doesn't have any meaning to you, you're not going to stick to it.
Yep.
So, that's really important. I just thought about something, Steve. I used to know somebody that she was raised with by her parents on December 31st. They all had to sit at the kitchen table, like her brothers and
Oh
everything.
man.
And I know this was really intense too, because they had to sit there and they had to say what all did not go well the previous year, and then write down 15 things that they were going to work on for the new year.
Why
And
15?
I was like, that's what I said. I'm like, why 15? But apparently that's what her father did or said. And even after her parents passed away, she continued doing this. And it was crazy. It was crazy to see. I mean, how much disappointment she had with herself constantly.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
because you always feel like you're
I
losing
know,
or you're not winning, right?
I
I don't want to
know.
say a loser because that would be wrong, but I
No,
mean,
no,
at
no,
the end of the
no.
day, it's like, oh my God, it's
Yeah, exactly.
a little bit extreme. But
Yeah,
I also do think, it does probably give you a reason to kind of, look back and say, okay, what could I have done differently? How could I have
exactly.
approached it differently? I think, as we've talked about before, everything in terms of personal performance or achieving a certain level of success all starts in the
Mhm.
questions, right? The types of
Yes.
questions that you're asking
Yeah,
yourself and the kind of approach that you want to take. If you're putting things out there just for the sake of doing it, you're likely not going to be successful. And if you're,
exactly.
putting things just on a list because you had to, because you kind of put,
I
a
know.
certain number of things down because there's an expectation. Well, that's somebody else's expectation, not yours. It
Exactly.
just makes things a little bit different. Tina just said,
Yeah,
accountability is the key. Holding yourself accountable to achievement, I think, is a real critical factor. So,
absolutely.
Teacher of the Year, Tina Koba, is
Yes.
joining us, which is awesome. So,
That's
super
awesome.
proud of her. Um, let me ask you. I mean, even though you don't normally set resolutions, at this particular point,
Mhm.
what's a resolution that you set for yourself at some point in 2022 that you were really proud that you achieved?
Probably the biggest thing, it's more of an idea that I let go of like really just the things that I was doing, that I was choosing to do business wise, personal, whatever, that it didn't matter what other people thought. Like to let that go. Does that make that to let go of always having to please everybody kind of thing.
Was
Which
that
was
like business specific or in
It was
general?
it was business specific, but as I started to let it go and really let it go business-wise, I realized that I was letting go of it personally as well, which is a really, for me, Steve, a big win, because I think it's one of the hardest things. I think we all deal with this. We all worry about what other people are going to think about what we're doing, the choices that we're making, what blah blah
Yeah,
blah, all those
yeah,
things. But it was a huge win for me in so many ways. But it started out as a business goal because I didn't want to be led because just this guy over here is doing this or this gal is doing this over here. Doesn't mean that I need to do it that way. Doesn't mean that I need to do that. And if I do it differently, if I choose to do differently, so what? You know what I mean? And to
that's
really,
good.
yeah. So that was something that felt really good for me to be able to realize. And it's going to be a work in progress. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, I think a lot of us have this tendency to compare where we are or what
Yeah.
we're doing or the progress we're making against what other people think.
Exactly.
And my good friend Donna Carlin's got this great phrase that, your opinion of me is none of my business, right?
Yeah.
And she said
Exactly.
one of the things that she really figured out pretty early. In fact, I just shared this on Twitter this morning with
Mhm.
someone, that it's, when you do that, it's super freeing because now the only
Yes.
opinion that really matters is my own.
Is
And
your own.
when you're utilizing that as your barometer or your success meter,
Yeah.
it vastly changes everything, right?
Yeah.
Because now you've got a little personal investment in what you're doing, how you're doing
Exactly.
it, why you're doing it. but also in the wins and, even sometimes the setbacks. There's
Yes.
power in both, right?
Yeah.
The power in the win is obvious, but even in the setbacks, well, now I know that's not going to work. I got to try something else. I'm not
Exactly.
giving up. I'm continuing to motivate and inspire myself to continue down that path, to just because one particular strategy or
Hmm.
one particular approach didn't work doesn't mean that I'm not going to hit on the right,
Exactly.
whatever metric that's going to make it work. And I think that's pretty critical. And it is it's kind of interesting, but like you said, you started off with a business objective, but how it
Yeah.
kind of permeates in every other aspect of your life, which
Exactly.
is really key.
Yeah. No, that's true. That was one of them. How about you, Steve? What was it for you last year?
We came into the year with uh, a different idea and perspective on what I wanted to represent in terms of my personal brand with the
Hmm.
Ripple, and getting really super clear about several things that I wanted
Hmm.
to accomplish. And one of those things was launching the Ripple membership, which we did in
Yeah.
September, to actually see where this thing has gone and what it's doing, and the kind of feedback I'm already getting from the people that are involved with it.
Right.
It's exactly the kind of playground I wish I had, 15 years ago, to be honest with
Exactly.
you. It has been a really unique and fun experience, but it was a lot of work, and it was a lot of intellectual capital that needed to go into this to see,
Hmm.
okay, once you birth it, are people going to sign up for it? Are they going to be willing to pay for it? Are they going to be motivated or inspired to
Right.
want to get involved? And it's not for everybody, right? At the end of the
Right.
day, we're doing a lot of things to meet people at a lot of different levels, but there are some people there's like, I don't, being online all the time is not my thing, or having
Right.
someone hold me
Exactly.
accountable or be a part of this coaching kind of approach is not something that's really my thing. And
Hmm.
so were aspects that I think were real simple for me to get off my path pretty quickly, like
Yeah.
being demotivated when people didn't sign up, or people that I thought would be all over this, like, because they're constantly tapping me
Right.
for advice and guidance. Like, this is a perfect way for you to
Right.
be more directly served by what I'm doing. And they're like, yeah, what, but I can call you and it's free, like, why would I pay you to? And it's like,
Yeah.
well, I'm creating this out of a necessity, really. At the end of the
Right.
day, I want to focus my energy and effort on people that are investing with me, not just buying what I'm doing, but really investing in the
Exactly.
process and the approach. And so I'm going to be more accessible to those people than I am, people that are
Yeah.
always tapping me for free advice and guidance. And that caused some really interesting conversations to happen, which,
Mm.
challenged my confidence about what I was doing and how I was doing it. But I
Right.
was super proud that I just pushed through it. Like, I had
Yeah.
a couple of
Exactly.
people that I consider really good friends that, oh yeah, I'm either gonna do it, and they never did, or people that were pretty much had that response, like, why would I do that? I could just take you to lunch and pick your brain. It's like, well, yeah,
Yep.
I mean, you can take me to lunch, but I'm probably not gonna be as free with my my feedback
Exactly.
and comments,
No.
because it's,
Exactly.
you've got to be able to, draw the line, and be able to,
Yep.
value your time and your expertise. And not to say that I don't want to help everybody, that comes, darkens my door. I
Right.
do, but at the end of the day, it's not conducive. And I end up
No.
absorbing their stress and their situations a
Yeah.
lot more than I probably should, and it's not super fair for them to come and ask for that expertise, for and not be willing to, to pay for it. And so,
Yeah. Exactly.
it was a little bit of a stretch for me, but I'm super proud I did it. I'm
Hmm.
super glad that I'm moving the direction that I
Right.
am, and it has freed me up, like, in a big way. It's like,
That's
hey, look,
great.
I have one person I will call, Tim the Taker. His not his real name or his last name, but this guy was accustomed to just hitting me up all the time.
All the time.
And I just finally had to say, hey, I sent this thing to you a couple of times. Did you sign up? And he's like, no, I mean, I didn't sign up. I'm like, well, yeah, sign up and we can get back together. I'm not trying to be
Exactly.
a jerk about it.
Hmm.
However, all my members are getting my priority time. And so
Exactly.
I just don't have time to, to solve the world's problems for you every single time that you have one. And it
Yeah.
was challenging because, there was some pretty negative response there, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, empowering to me because it's like I'm finally controlling sort of what I want. And really, at the end of the day, I love building. I love creating something that people
Right.
walk away and they're like, "Wow, I didn't expect this. This is like
Exactly.
way cooler than I expected." And I'm pulling things out of it that I never
Yeah.
really expected to get from it, which is great. And so, from that perspective, it was
That's
really
great.
rewarding. And so, really, at the end of the day, for my resolutions, is doubling down. I'm like, focused on
Yep.
being really protective of my time, being doubly committed to the people that are really showing that they're investing in themselves and investing in what I have to do and what I offer. And
Exactly.
that's how I'm going to make myself, accessible.
No, I think that that's great, Stephen. Congratulations on that, because that is really,
Thanks.
I wanted to say something about the Tim the Taker, or Tim Taker, whatever. Is that, people that get bothered by you setting boundaries are the ones that are always overstepping the boundaries.
Yeah.
And when you realize that, it's like it'll cause you to really set those boundaries, those healthy boundaries, way, way sooner than
Yeah.
than we usually do. So
Yeah. Absolutely.
congratulations to you. That's really good.
Yeah, but it's never easy, right? I mean, you're the
No.
same way, right? People
Yep.
are
Never
tapping
easy.
you all the time for free
Yeah.
coaching, and it's like at some point you have to kind of be guarded and protected because you and I are not halfway in kind of people, right? When
No.
somebody comes to us with a problem or there's an
Yes.
issue, we want to work it until we solve it, or we get them on a right
Exactly.
path, or so it's not an easy situation, but at the end of the day, you have to be super protective of that time and that
Yes.
expertise, and you've accumulated that over a period of time. And I've had this conversation offline. At some juncture, you have to say, look, you have to respect yourself enough to
Exactly.
say, look, what you're looking for, what you're looking to get
Yep.
from me is something I can give. However, I get
Mhm.
paid and compensated for this in some way. And if
Exactly.
you're not, and I've given you a couple of avenues, right? You can go to the membership, or you
Mhm.
can, sign up to, get professional coaching or consulting with me. And
Right.
yeah, those things are not cheap, but solving problems generally isn't. So,
Yeah.
it's a matter of
Exactly.
the pain point, whether you want them resolved or not, or if
Yep.
you're just looking for the answers to the test, which is, it's unfortunate. You see a lot of people that are out there that are, they're just looking for you to give them the answers to the
Yep.
test so that they can move on, but they don't value what you bring to the table, which is disappointing.
It is disappointing, and it's really, for 2023 for myself, I'm letting those relationships go. I'm
Yeah,
letting them just fade away because they need to. I have a handful of people that are constantly doing that, and it's just like, you know what? No. I am no
yeah,
longer going to be that go-to person that has all the answers to this, or has it. No, you know what? Let's just kind of distance ourselves. And I think it'll be better. It's already feeling freer for me. I'm getting pushback from a couple of them, but I'm just like, well, so be it.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think that's great. I think at the end of the day, that's I tell people, because I've said this before, I think
Mhm.
on one of my own podcasts, and I think you and I talked about it a little bit on one of
Mhm.
our uh, prior episodes about distancing yourself from the takers.
Yeah,
And just because it's not a good fit right now doesn't necessarily mean it won't be a good fit down the road. So you always want to
exactly.
be super respectful of the
Yes.
relationship. But at the end of the day, the takers generally don't pay attention to you when you leave,
No,
right?
they
There's
don't.
very few of them that come back,
Yeah.
which is okay. But the ones that do kind of wake up and like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, we were talking about something like this in the Ripple membership actually last month about having to set those boundaries and how important it is. And
Mhm.
I have a particular friend that we've just outgrown one another where we are in our
Yeah.
lives and our careers at this point. And I had to have a very direct and honest conversation because every
Mhm.
time I got together with this person, it was, yeah, I felt like just the negative energy and just the
Yeah.
almost up, kind of the one upness of what was happening
Exactly.
and transpiring.
Yeah.
It was exhausting. And I felt like, yes, I was
Yeah.
getting together with this person in a social perspective, but it felt like it was almost like a competition. And I just had to tell this person I mean, literally just happened this past quarter.
Mhm.
Um, we're just not in the same space as we were maybe 5 years
Right.
ago or 3 years ago. And
Right.
that's okay. And there's not a problem with that. At the end of the day, we'll come back around and maybe resume,
Exactly.
that buddy friendship, but it doesn't mean I don't love you and support you and want you to be successful. And
Right.
hopefully you have a great, year ahead or whatever. But
Yep.
right now I'm not going to dedicate the time to going and putting myself in those situations. A, I just don't have the time, and B, mentally and physically, it just took something
Mhm.
from me. And so to recognize that in that regard
Yeah.
was super important. And
Yeah.
it was difficult to have the conversation, but incredibly freeing when I did, and at least got
Yes.
it out there. And to a degree, like, you and I've talked about that, that level of honesty, most people are not accustomed to. And so they
No.
do not respond, they don't respond
No.
very positive
No, they don't.
often. But sometimes I mean, that is what it is. Like you've said before, right? When people are busy showing you who they are,
Yeah.
pay attention because that,
Pay
yeah,
attention
yeah,
because yes.
yeah. And in this situation, actually, the initial response was not a positive one.
Right.
Then they thought about it and they came back and they're like, you're absolutely right. And, I own my part in this, right? But at
Mhm.
the end of the day, I respect your boundaries that you're creating. And, I
Okay.
want you to know I still consider us friends. Perfect.
Great.
That's ideal.
Great.
But, those things are challenging. But I do think 23 to me seems like the perfect year
Mhm.
to start reevaluating some of those things, right?
Yes.
Start
I
evaluating
agree.
where you want to invest your time, how you want to be spending it, who you want to be spending it with
Yes.
and on. To me, it just seems like there's kind of this opportunity to take a fresh look at
Yeah.
and reassess where you are with some of those critical relationships, and that's true for personal and professional.
Right.
I
I
just
think
think
it's
it's
very
super
important.
important.
I
Yeah,
think it's very important. I think it's vital to the success of anything that you do in your life, whether it's
yep,
business wise, personal, whatever it is. It is vital because you've got to check in with yourself. You got to see where you are. I mean,
yeah,
who you were a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It's not who you are right now. And I think this is why, a lot of times we do make these resolutions at the beginning of the year because we feel this, renewal of ourselves. We
yep.
feel new. And so it is from that perspective a perfect time to spend some time reflecting,
It
seeing what you're
is.
looking forward to, seeing what you can kind of leave behind or just kind of let go of. What
Yeah,
is it that you can kind of free up some of that space, whether it's physically or mentally, see what great things can come in place of whatever's there right now. So
yeah, absolutely.
yeah,
Well, we wanted to jump on and we want to wish everybody a very happy new
yeah,
year. I also want to put in a plug for our upcoming episodes of Conversations with Asha and
yeah.
Steve. We actually have an episode dropping tomorrow, which is actually a continuation, Asha, of the banana peels of entrepreneurship. Right?
Yes,
We have two episodes left in this series, and then we're going to move
exactly.
on to something new. But the exciting thing about this episode drops tomorrow at let's see what time it drops. I forgot.
I think
What time? Yeah, 10 o'clock. Are we 6 hours apart or 7 hours
we're
apart?
7 hours apart now.
Okay, good. Because once I did the graphic for today's live stream, I'm like, oh, I might have done the or the European time wrong. But so 10 a.m. Central Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central European
Mhm,
time.
mhm.
Tomorrow is episode 111, which is hard to believe that we have
It's
111
amazing. Yeah,
episodes in the can.
yeah,
But just because you build it doesn't mean they will come. And so we talk about the perspectives of building your business, building out a new idea or
mhm,
approach, and just launching it doesn't mean that you're just gonna they're gonna beat a path to your door, right?
yeah,
So this is an exciting one. We're going to get back to an every 2 week cadence with our
yeah,
episodes. We're going to do more live streams in the new year. We have a commitment to
yes,
do that. But I'm just super excited about where this particular series took us and the kind of feedback we've
yes.
gotten. I know you've gotten some really good positive comments from your clients as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that one of my clients told me was that it's good that you guys are talking about the things that usually people don't want to talk about.
Yeah,
In business because we're embarrassed by it or we're ashamed by it or whatever. And he was really glad that we were talking about things that people don't talk about as much. Because you
yeah,
usually hear about the nice, pretty things about business, but we took it in that series. We took a road down the things that we all slip up on, you know. So and he was very grateful for that.
yeah. What's great about this, and Robert actually just was
Mhm.
talking about this. It's a great series. Appreciate you tuning into it, Robert, for sure. These are things that I think that, like you said, that we often have as entrepreneurs, that
Yeah,
little misgivings about sharing, with our
exactly.
staff or even our close friends and
Yeah.
family members, because technically, like we said several times throughout this series, as entrepreneurs, we're assumed
Mhm.
to have all the answers, and we do not.
Right.
Even the
No.
most confident entrepreneur
Yeah.
who says they have it all figured out is a liar.
Exactly.
They do not. Life and business is so challenging and so
Yeah.
difficult. And one of the things that Asha and I wanted to really do with this series was really kind of illuminate some of these challenges that
Yeah.
can really slip you up. And one of the things that has come across with a lot of the back and forth that I've had with entrepreneurs is how this stuff is just not talked about nearly enough, and
Yeah.
how as entrepreneurs, you've got to go find your people. You got to find your tribe,
You
which can
do.
be other entrepreneurs, a coach or consultant, someone that can be in your corner that's going to support you and guide you through,
Mhm.
either because they've been through those same experiences themselves, or they're going to be that sounding board for your approach, your
Exactly.
next idea, or challenges that you're facing. Having that feedback loop is so absolutely critical. And I think
Yeah.
that's one thing that we've really kind of driven home throughout this
Yeah.
process is, if you don't have that person, find that person and make that a
Right.
priority, especially in the new year.
I agree. No, that's very important. It is so important. I mean, I know, Steve, we've talked about this, about how we ourselves, we've had coaches all along, our career. And why is that? Because that sounding board is so very important. There are
Yep.
blind spots that we all have, that having that person, having that group, that having that, that you can actually have that reflected back exactly what you need in the right time is so vitally important. It'll help you. It'll be a big game changer, not only business-wise, but personally as well. You
Yep.
know, it spills over into everything.
It does, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think, one thing I probably would love to just hear your thoughts on, especially as
Mhm.
people are here at the beginning of the year, how do you suggest that in them coming to the point where they kind of admit, hey, I need to get some help. I need to get
Mhm.
that person in my corner, especially as it relates to a coach. What do you suggest? Maybe a couple of quick tips to just share with anybody who might be following that series or might be thinking about, yeah,
Mhm.
I'm in that bucket right now. So how do I find that right person to help me?
I mean, I think it's a matter of, find somebody that inspires you. Listen to what they're talking about. Listen to, because I agree, like just as much as coaches and consultants, how we have to interview people that we will potentially work with, I think it works the other way around too. You need to go and find somebody that, because you need to be able to find somebody that is going to be able to speak your language, that is going to be able to motivate you and inspire you, somebody that you will trust, that you can
Yeah,
trust. Otherwise, it's not going to work. It's not
that's
going to
right.
work. It's one of those things that I think and would tell people to really kind of find that out and investigate that, and maybe have a conversation with whoever you're thinking about coaching, hiring as your coach or consultant or whatever, and see if it's a right fit from that perspective.
Yeah, and ask them, if they'd be willing to share a few of their clients' contact
Exactly.
information to maybe just get
Exactly.
a, perspective from an sort of an end
Yeah.
user perspective as to what it's like to be
Yeah.
working with that individual, and sort of how their perception has been in terms of what it's done for them personally or professionally, I think is really
Right.
critical. And I would say, my piece of advice, kind of similar to the people who are always looking for the freebies, the
Hmm.
taking, the takers of the world, is a good coach is not paid to give you the answers to the test. They're there
Exactly.
to ask the tough questions. They're asked to hold you, they're there to, hold you accountable,
Yeah.
and they're there to help you see things maybe from a different perspective and viewpoint
Yeah.
than what you're seeing today. I find that often the blind spots, as we call them, are often so valuable for people to say, "Have you thought about this? Because I don't think
Hmm.
you're looking at these two things, and this is an area where you might need some assistance or guidance,
Yeah.
or you might need to really take a deeper look or examination of this."
Exactly.
Just having that, I think, is super critical. And of course, every coach worth their salt is going to be there to support you and to
Hmm.
encourage you, but they're not going to be there necessarily to give you the answers, because that's not what the job is, right? The job is there
That's
to help
very true.
coach you through the
Yeah.
process, through that decision point, or through that next set of objectives that you're trying to set for yourself. But if you're looking at a coaching relationship as a, oh my god, it's my get out of jail free card
Yeah.
to
No.
figure out everything,
No.
not that. it's different than consulting. Consultants are paid for results in that
Exactly.
regard. And those people are there because they have a job to do. There's an end
Mhm.
game in mind, but they don't have a personal or, real sincere motivation, in you
Yeah.
as an individual. That's the difference between, a consultant and a coach, is that, the coach really wants to see you happy,
Yeah.
successful, living the best possible life, having the best possible career, and, seeing your business thrive, and that personal satisfaction they want to see you have
Hmm.
from whatever it is that you're building. And there is that emotional attachment there because they're
Yeah.
in your corner, that cheerleader kind of mindset. A consultant is there for milestones and activities and,
Exactly.
in game. And so just as long as you set those mindsets correctly, then it helps you set that perspective a little bit different.
That's a very good point, Stephen. I think it is something that a coach wants you to develop the skills in order to succeed, and those
Yeah.
skills come from within you. And we
Yep.
all have them. You just need somebody that will help nurture that and help find that, bring it out in you. And that's really what coaching is about. It's not just like the end results, like what you were saying about a consultant. It's not just about, getting XYZ. It's about, okay, these are actually life skills, if you will, that you are going to take with you forever.
Yep.
You are going to develop, and I think that that's really, really important. But yeah, that's great to distinguish between those two.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Well, before we wrap up here, I just want to make sure that everybody knows how to follow us.
perfect.
Asha is at Prasad Method,
It's
and
at
I am
the
at
Prasad
Ripple.
method.
Oh, the Prasad. My
The
bad. Let me
Prasad method. It's
fix that.
okay. It's okay. That's okay.
I actually, I copied it from
I think it.
your
Well,
Twitter handle is just at Prasad Method.
yeah, but no. Actually, my Twitter is at Dr. Asha. So what happened was, let me explain this.
Ah,
So what happened was somebody took over my
oh,
Instagram at Dr. Asha and I can't access it. I can't get it anymore.
oh.
So that's why on Instagram I'm at the Prasad method, but everywhere else I'm at Dr. Asha or
Okay,
at
let me
Dr. Asha.
fix
Yeah.
this really quick. Okay,
Isn't that
tell me.
interesting, Steve? That's really, let me just check and
I'm gonna
see.
edit this. So it's the Prasad Method.
Yep, that's right. The Prasad
All
method.
right, I just fixed it. There we go. And there we go. Does that look right?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, I copied it from Twitter, but I did not realize because yeah, I
Yeah.
kind of see what you're talking about on Instagram.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yeah. So,
you should complain about that. Somebody stole
oh,
it
I
from you,
did several times.
and they didn't fix it.
No. So,
Not cool. Not cool,
not.
dudes.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and just so you know, Dr. Asha and I are going. Like I said, we have an episode dropping
Hmm.
tomorrow, and then 2 weeks from tomorrow will be our next episode. That'll be the
Yeah.
last for their Banana Peels of Entrepreneurship, and then we'll be back
Yeah.
with a new series that we're gonna start, which is a mystery right now because we
Yes, it
haven't confirmed exactly what it's going to be. But Asha's been noodling on it, so I'm excited to hear what
Oh,
her
yes.
her vacation to the mystery faraway lands actually revealed in terms of where she came up with the ideas. So
Hmm. It will be revealed. And I will,
it
you know what,
will.
Steve? I will let you know before we actually go live with it. How about that?
That would be great. That would be super helpful.
Okay.
I mean, I don't mind the gotchas, but on that I might mind the gotchas.
Exactly.
Well, listen, I want to wish everybody a very happy new year. And Asha, I'm excited about what 2023 holds for this podcast and the show. And we're going to get back, hopefully, back to doing some more
Yeah.
live streams like this and just having an opportunity to have some conversations because people seem to really love it. And so we're grateful for those that tune in and catch it on the replay, and
Yeah.
of course that are tuning into our show. But before we go, let everybody know just kind of how
Hmm.
they can, follow the show if they've
Hmm.
haven't seen it before or they haven't subscribed, and then ultimately how they can get maybe a message to us in
Yeah.
terms of maybe topics they'd like us to cover in the future.
Yeah. Well, definitely go to our YouTube channel, Conversation with Asha and Steve. Go to our YouTube channel, subscribe. You will get alerted there for every episode that we have. That's one of the best ways to follow the show. But
Yep.
you can reach out to us on Instagram, Facebook. You can go to our website, conversationwithashandsteve.com. Really, the best, I think, platforms to be able to get us a message would be on Facebook or on Instagram. But
Yeah.
be sure to reach out to us wherever you can find us. But definitely, I would say the YouTube channel is probably the best, Steve, for people to
Yeah.
really stay in tune and stay up to date with what's going on with us.
Yeah, and just look for Conversations with Asha and Steve, and you'll
Mhm.
find us. And then subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you'll
Yeah,
know every time both we go live as well as new episodes are
yeah,
dropping. And like I said, you'll actually be able to see when the premieres are happening. Like tomorrow's episode, which happens at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time and 5 p.m. Central European Time. So
yeah.
that's when the episode will drop for tomorrow. So
Perfect.
Asha, well, happy new year. I'm
Happy New
grateful
Year.
that we are kicking off 2023 live like this and
Yes.
excited to see what 2023 holds for us both.
Me too, Steve. Happy New Year. And thank you for everybody that joined us today live.
Absolutely. All right, you guys take care. We'll be back again real soon with another live stream. But in the meantime, don't miss any of our great episodes because they are awesome. I mean, it's Asha.
I mean, look at Steve, it's Steve.
See you later.